Everyone told you the same thing, that once you hit 40, your metabolism slows to a crawl, and that's why the weight creeps on. It's the reason the diet stopped working, the reason for the belly that wasn't there at 35, the reason a doctor shrugs and says, well, it happens at your age. There's just one problem with that story. It isn't true. Scientists measured the metabolisms of more than 6,000 people, from newborn babies to people in their 90s, and what they found quietly breaks the whole thing apart. Your metabolism didn't slow down, something else did. 3 things, actually, and by the end of this, you'll know all 3. Number 2 is the one almost nobody warns you about. Let's start with that study, because it's the one that should have made the front page. In 2021, a team published research in the journal Science, and they didn't ask people what they ate. They used a gold standard method called doubly labeled water that tracks precisely how much energy your body actually burns as you live your life. No guessing, no food diaries. They pooled data on more than 6,000 people, from 8 days old to 95 years old. And here is what they found. Once you account for body size, the energy you burn per day holds almost perfectly steady from your 20s all the way through your 50s. Not a slow slide downhill, a plateau. A woman of 45 is burning energy at essentially the same rate she did at 25. Metabolism doesn't truly begin to dip until around 60, and even then, it's less than 1% a year. So the metabolism that supposedly betrayed you at 40, it was quietly doing its job the whole time. Which leaves us with a much better question. If your body didn't slow down, why did things change? Because 3 other things did. Let's take them in order. The first one is the big one, and it's been hiding in plain sight: muscle. Somewhere in your 30s, you begin to lose it, slowly, silently, with no symptom you would ever notice in the mirror. The average adult loses somewhere between 3 and 8% of their muscle every decade after 30, and the loss speeds up from there. Doctors even have a name for it: sarcopenia. Now here's why that quietly reshapes the number on the scale. Muscle is expensive tissue. It's the part of you that stays busy even when you're sitting perfectly still, the engine idling in the driveway. Fat, by comparison, mostly just sits there. So when you slowly trade a few pounds of muscle for a few pounds of fat across a decade, even if your weight barely moves, you're now running a smaller engine all day, every day. You didn't get lazy. Without knowing it, you got a little less muscular. And everything about modern midlife, the desk, the driving, the sheer busyness, speeds that loss along. But hold on to this one, because muscle is also the thing you can do the most about. It comes back at the very end, and it's the good news. The second change is the one almost nobody warns you about, and it isn't that estrogen makes you gain weight. It's stranger and honestly more interesting than that. Estrogen decides where your body stores fat. All through your reproductive years, estrogen sends fat to your hips and your thighs, the shape you probably spent your 20s frowning at in the mirror. But as you move into perimenopause and estrogen starts to fall, that instruction quietly changes. The fat doesn't necessarily get bigger. It moves. It migrates up and inward, to your belly, and to the deep kind that wraps around your organs. A long-running study that has followed thousands of women through menopause measured this directly. Before menopause, that deep abdominal fat is around 5 to 8% of a woman's total body fat. After menopause, it climbs to 15, even 20%. Same woman? Sometimes the very same number on the scale. A completely different shape. That's why the belly can seem to appear out of nowhere, even when nothing about the way you eat has changed. It isn't extra fat falling from the sky, it's the same fat being quietly forwarded to a new address, and your clothes notice long before the scale ever does. Which brings us to the third change, the sneaky one, because this one isn't in your hormones and it isn't in your muscles. It's hidden inside your ordinary day. Researchers have a wonderfully nerdy name for it: NEAT. Non-exercise activity thermogenesis, which is just a very complicated way of saying all the movement that isn't a workout. Fidgeting, pacing while you're on the phone, taking the stairs, carrying things, standing up and sitting down 100 times a day. In your 20s and 30s, you did a staggering amount of it without ever once thinking about it. And by midlife, more driving, more screens, more sitting, and children who finally carry their own bags, that invisible daily movement quietly falls off a cliff. And here's the kicker. For a lot of people, it burns more in a day than their actual exercise ever does. Now stack on top of that the sleep you've probably been losing, because when you're running short on sleep, the hormone that says eat more turns up, and the one that says you're full goes quiet. So you're moving less, and your appetite is being gently nudged higher. Notice what none of this is. None of it is willpower, all of it is circumstance, and every single piece of it can be changed. I want to stop here for just a second, because if you've made it this far, I think you might need to hear this. You are not imagining it. You did not get lazy. You didn't misplace your discipline somewhere between 39 and 45. You have been doing the same things that always used to work. Eating the way you always ate, moving the way you always moved, and getting a completely different result. And then, so often, being told by someone who never measured a single thing about you that you simply need more willpower. That is not a character flaw. That is a body whose instructions quietly changed, while everyone kept handing you the old manual and wondering why it stopped working. So if you have felt a little crazy, like the rules got rewritten in the middle of the game and nobody bothered to tell you, you're right. They did. And you are not the only woman who worked it out a few years later than she'd have liked, but exactly in time to actually do something about it. So let's do something about it. And this is where the good news has been waiting the whole time. Remember the muscle? That turns out to be the lever. Not cardio, not eating less and less until you're living on salad and sheer willpower. When you strength train, when you make a muscle push or pull against real resistance, you don't just burn some calories in the moment. You start rebuilding the engine itself. And the research on this is genuinely lovely. It works at 40, it works at 60, it even works in people in their 90s. Muscle will answer at any age if you ask it. The second lever is protein. As you get older, your body actually gets a little less efficient at turning the protein on your plate into muscle on your body. So you need slightly more of it than you used to, spread across the day and especially at breakfast, where most of us eat almost none. And here's what I would gently, lovingly retire. Hour after hour of punishing cardio to burn it off, and the old habit of eating less and less. That last one quietly backfires. Undereat for long enough, and your body will happily burn the very muscle you were trying so hard to keep. So here's what actually moves the needle. Not tonight, this week. Rule 1. Lift something heavy twice a week. That's it. 2 short sessions against resistance. Dumbbells, a couple of resistance bands, or just your own body weight, squats, and push-ups leaning on the kitchen counter. Pound for pound, this is the highest return thing on the entire list. Rule 2. Move protein to the front of your day. Most of us pile it onto dinner and eat almost none at breakfast. So just shift some of it forward. Eggs, Greek yogurt, whatever you actually like. Rule 3. Go and reclaim the movement you lost. Not the gym, the little stuff. A 10-minute walk after a meal, the stairs, standing up while you're on the phone. You're rebuilding your NEAT on purpose, one small choice at a time. Notice that none of this is a crash diet. None of it asks you to punish your body or hate it. It's simply handing your body the new manual, the one that matches how it actually works now. So here's the whole thing, in one breath. Your metabolism did not slow down. You lost a little muscle. Your hormones moved the fat, and your everyday movement quietly disappeared. And every single one of those is something you can start turning around this week, not with punishment, with the right lever. You were never the problem here. You were just working from an old set of instructions, and now you've got the new ones. If something just clicked into place, if you're even a little less annoyed at your own body than you were 10 minutes ago, go ahead and subscribe and stick around, because this is exactly what we do here, the science of your 40s and 50s. Finally explained. And if this finally put words to the last few years, for you or for someone you love who's been told it's just her age, you already know who to send it to. Then tell me down in the comments, what's the one thing about your body after 40 that absolutely nobody warned you about? I read every single one. I'll see you in the next one.